Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. So excited. Today's topic is, we don't speak the same. I want some of my people to chime in because I've just come to the conclusion that men and women don't speak the same, right? Communication is one of the number one ways to keep a healthy relationship. But it seems like most people don't know how to communicate with each other. Most people put their feelings before the other person's feelings. So for instance, let's just say hypothetically we're having a conversation and something could be bothering me, but if I'm not able to express myself because of how it makes you feel, then how can you ever understand me? You should never have to negate your feelings because of someone else's feelings, right? So if I have to always negate how I feel about a particular subject because of your feelings, that is not healthy at all. Dre, would you agree with that statement? If I have to negate how I feel about something because of how you feel about something, that means you must be the prince of the world because I got to always worry about how you feel? Who are you? Is that not diabolical? That's extreme. But in today's society, we have to be mindful of how we feel because of how we feel, how it makes other people feel. I'm going to tell you something, guys. Wrong, right, or indifferent, a person has a reason to feel. I want y'all to hear this story the other day. And guys, I want y'all to hear this. So I go out the other night with a couple. And while we're sitting at a bar, right? So it's me and a couple sitting at a bar. And while we're sitting at the bar, a man comes over and sits next to my boy's woman, right? So when he sits next to my boy's woman, he says, and I want y'all to hear this good. I want y'all honest opinion about this. So when he sits next to the woman, he starts asking the couple questions about dating. She responds, he responds, he asks me my opinion, I respond. After I respond, I got out the conversation. After my boy responds, he gets out the conversation. The guy continues to try to talk to the woman, right? So she finishes up the conversation, then she comes back to the conversation with us. A couple of minutes later, he taps her on her shoulder. He asks her, wait, let me ask you some more questions. So while he's asking her more questions, right, only bringing her into the conversation, no one else. So the guy asks her more questions a second time. She finishes the conversation. She comes back over to us. He taps her a couple minutes later for a third time. She turns to him. She answers the questions, right? So finally, she comes back to the conversation with us a third time. Then all of a sudden, he taps her a fourth time. Asks her questions, and now in the midst of this conversation, he asks her age. He asks her where she's from. He asks her personable things. And on top of it, he also says in the questions, he was basically relaying that he talks to two different women. And the older woman is more mature than the younger woman, right? And he said basically he likes the older woman because she's more mature. And sexually, he started talking about his sexual encounter with both women to the girl. So now, if she finishes up that conversation, she comes back to us, and then he taps her on the shoulder a fifth time. And he starts talking to her again. So after the fifth time, she finally comes back over and said, hey, she tries to talk to her man. Her man said, there's nothing to talk about. And she said, what do you mean there's nothing to talk about? Because she tried to explain to the boyfriend what the guy, the stranger, random guy was talking about. He said, I don't care about that man's personal business. And first off, you spoke to this man way too much. She basically called him sassy. She basically said you're insecure. She called him every name in the book rather than saying, wait, time out. I made you feel a way about all this speaking. Rather than learning him, she used that as a way of disrespecting him even furthering, right? So then all of a sudden she looks over and she said, you know what, Q's here. Let me ask Q how you feel about the conversation. So I said to him, yo, do you want me to say how I really feel? He says yes. I looked at her. I said, do you want me to really say how I feel? She says yes. I said to her, I looked at her and I said, I'm gonna be honest with you, you was completely wrong. I said, to that man that sat at that bar with y'all, he genuinely believed that he could have you. You gave him way too much conversation. And then on top of it, he was talking about sex, and you should have definitely nipped that in the butt early. I said, the fact that you didn't do it and then you try to belittle the man's feelings by him expressing how he feels, it shows that you have very little regards and respect for his feelings. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it is every bit of a couple's job to make sure their person or their mate, right, is secure. But again, if you're not able to do that, I don't like being around couples, and I'm gonna say this, somebody gonna get upset, I don't care. I don't like being around couples who can't express the truth even when they know they made it wrong. I hate that about couples. I think it's wrong. And the reason why I feel like it's wrong is because you create a false pretense on how you genuinely feel about the person. I think the healthiest relationship is when you can honestly express how you feel. And your mate, whether male or female, should be comfortable with respecting your opinion. If they don't respect their opinion, that means they are very controlling. It is unhealthy to be with someone that's controlling when you can't express yourself. So as this man was expressing himself, she personalized the conversation and started flipping on me and him as if we were wrong. And I looked at her and I said, you sound very, very delusional right now. I said, because you're flipping this whole narrative as if we did something wrong to you, but meanwhile, you just did something wrong to him and he's only expressing how he feels. Oh, both of y'all so insecure. I can't believe I'm sitting with two insecure men. And I'm going to go on record and say this. Ladies and gentlemen, a man or a woman is not weak when they're expressing something you did in the moment to make them feel away. Let me say that again. A man or a woman is not weak when they're expressing something you just did in the moment that made them feel away. I genuinely believe that this world got this thing where men are called sassy when a man expresses feelings. He's called sassy. But then in the same breath, a woman will say that she wants a man to express his feelings. How will a man express his feelings when he's worried about not being received on how he feels? Especially, ladies, when it makes you uncomfortable. I notice in most cases, a woman will maneuver and manipulate how she feels in a conversation because the conversation is making her very uncomfortable. And it's not fair to a man that I have to belittle how I feel because it's making you feel away. And I'm just being fair. And to the people that's on live that's not in agreement, is because they're more than likely the type of people that would definitely manipulate a conversation and control it because the conversation makes them uncomfortable. First off, rule number one, watch this. If one of my friends come to me and say, yo, you did something that made me feel away, the first thing I'm gonna say is this. You know what? I apologize. And the reason why I apologize, because I didn't know I made you feel away. But let me further by saying I didn't mean to, nor that was my intent. The acknowledgement of their feelings make them feel received and respected. But if you can't, as soon as you tell somebody that they did something to make you feel away, the first thing you do is go on a defense. All you're doing is negating and belittling that person's feelings who just told you they felt away. And secondly, it's worse if you bring up something from the past tense to justify the current moment. So if you're bringing something up from the past tense to justify how your mate feels right now, that means you are a child. You don't need to be in a relationship. You need to be in therapy. I'm going to be honest with you. A person that can't be receptive of another person's feelings should not ever be in a relationship. Because if I'm dating my woman and I say to her, you made me feel away. If she bring up 3 months ago where you did that, listen, that is the most toxic human that you could be in a relationship with. That is very toxic. Because for one, you were able to get over it because we were able to move on 3 months later. But if you did something omnipresent at this very moment, I have every bit of right to express how I feel. But again, communication, right, is because we don't speak the same. A lot of men and women don't understand that we don't speak the same language. The communication, right, is crucial in a relationship because it serves as a foundation for the understanding, trust, and intimacy, allowing partners to express their needs, feelings, and desires, navigate conflicts effectively, and ultimately strengthen their emotional bond with one another. Poor communication skills can lead to misrepresentment, misunderstandings, and relationships breakdowns. But a lot of times when we have these conversations, men and women don't want to acknowledge that we do speak two different languages. Right? When you're having a problem in your relationship currently, a lot of times it's because there are people who allow people to always feel like they're right. When you date someone that always feel like they're right, the moment you tell them they're wrong, it's going to always be a problem. If you have to walk around in a relationship on eggshells because you're worried about a person and their feelings, that means you're in jail. You're dating a correctional officer. You're dating a probation officer. You're not dating a partner. Because naturally, as a partner, we should be able to understand each other's feelings. And even if I don't agree with you, we have to agree to disagree. And I'm going to respect your stance. You got to respect my stance. Just because I don't agree with you don't make us, neither one of us, wrong. It just means that we're not in agreement. And that's humans. But if you can't comfortably express yourself in a relationship, that means you are ever bitter in a bad situationship. No matter how you slice it. I will never be with someone that I can't express myself to. I don't bite my tongue because biting my tongue hurts. I'm going to always express myself. Because for one, I have a completely different opinion than my mate, and I'm going to always be willing to express it because of the fact that wrong, right, or indifferent, my opinion also matters. And that's just what we have to accept, right? I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to go into the statement. Happy wife, happy life. I don't know whoever created that statement, but it's sick. So you're telling me the only way that my household could be happy if my woman is happy? That's what you just said. Happy wife, happy life. So I cannot be happy unless my woman is happy. I think a very narcissistic woman created that statement. And some men ate the cheese. And they believe that foolishness. Happy spouse, happy house. Happy spouse, happy house. And when you look at spouse, it is an individual's job to make themselves happy. Ladies and gentlemen, a woman's job is not to make a man happy. A man's job is not to make a woman happy, right? A woman's job is to add the IER already on his happy and vice versa for the man. Your job is to make your woman happier. But I'm not sitting here telling you that I have to make a woman happy. It is not my role. It is not my job. But again, if a woman isn't happy, there's nothing I can do to make her happy. Because she has to ultimately find what makes her happy. And sometimes you see some people, they come home and they got something called displaced anger. This is a means of communication that a lot of people haven't identified. Displaced anger is when you're mad at something and you take it out on someone else when it has nothing to do with you. Displaced anger. There are a lot of people right now that are angry about personable things, but they always take it out on others because of their levels of insecurity. Let's create this premise. Men, you set your boundaries. Ladies, you set your boundaries. And anytime someone oversteps your boundaries, therefore there will be a problem. We have to set boundaries. But I'm not going to allow myself to be in a relationship where I always have to be the wrong person in order for me to be right. I remember one time this one guy called my phone and he said, Q, every time me and my girl make up, it's because I call her first. I said, maybe this is the time you don't call her. I said, sometimes you date people who are used to someone always stroking their ego. And when you don't stroke their ego, they will not be happy. Meaning you have to always be wrong for them to be right. That is one of the most toxic relationships a human can be in. Think about that statement. Every time you're right, you have to be wrong because it makes her feel good. What the hell are you dating? That's a monster. And the more you do it, the more that person will believe they're right, ultimately getting older and hating her or hating him. I know women that despise their mates because they never check their mates. I know men that despise their mates because they never check their mates. I know women who would bite their tongue so much to the point where now that they're older, they have a very, very love-hate relationship because they never ever spoke up for themselves. Staying quiet ain't making no healthy relationship. That's creating a false pretense of good relationships. I'm going to give you one story one time. There was a time I was dating a girl, right? And she complained a lot. When I say complain a lot, she complained about anything and everything she can get her hands on to complain about. So one day I said, I have to show her how many things I bite my tongue for when she thinks that she's perfect. But in reality, she's not. I'm going to show her today. So guess what I did? For one whole week, and you can call it petty, but I had to prove a point. Sometimes some people don't learn verbally. Some people don't learn, they learn physically. Some people have to experience, so therefore they can learn. And I figured that every time I spoke to her about things about herself, she never learned from verbal communication. She can understand it. So I said, I got something for you. So one day, right, I literally, watch this. One day, I come in the house. I said, this whole week from Monday to Sunday, I'm going to take video and picture, and I'm going to keep a ledger of everything she does wrong this week, and then I'm going to send her, at the end of the week, I'm going to send her everything, right? At the end of the week, she did about 55 things that could have started an argument. But if I did 55 things to her, she brought up all 55 things, right? So I showed her the 55 things that she did all week, right? I showed her. I said, look at all of these things. Oh my God, you're so petty. What do you think I feel when you do what you do? I feel like you're petty. You bring up everything that I do wrong, right? You're a mirror, but yet and still I clean your mirror every time you smudge it. Every time you smudge your mirror, I clean it for you, making you feel like you're always perfect. Because sometimes life is not about wars, because we have real battles. You keep taking every battle as a war, you'll never take the war serious. Sometimes you sit with people, they argue about everything. I'm like, those little battles aren't that serious, because in relationships, there will be war. There will be real problems. There will be real issues. But again, sometimes people sign up for the Cinderella story. Sometimes people sign up for the movie, right? They think the movie, but the one thing about the end of a movie, they show the happily ever after, but they never show the bills and the responsibilities that come with the happily ever after. They never show you anything after the last scene where they're walking down the aisle getting married. But they don't show you the battle of keeping the marriage together. And this is what it is, right? I realize that men and women just don't speak the same language. And I'm not going to negate how I feel because it makes a woman uncomfortable. If something is bothering me, I'm going to always voice my opinion. And if it's not meant for me to be with someone, then so be it. But I'm not going to sit in a situation where I'm constantly negating my feelings, right? Harboring, holding. I'm already a Taurus. Tauruses usually explode when things get out of hand. We hold on and hold on and hold on till we can't take it anymore. And rather than me being that explosive person, I would have rather addressed the issue from the jump. Because ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this on record. If you're the type of person that waits to an argument to bring up something that's going to add fuel to an argument, you're a child. You're a whole child. That's what a kid would do. A kid would wait to an argument to bring up something in an argument that only adds fuel to the fire to justify the behavior in the argument. Let me say that again. If I come to you with something that's bothering me and you find something from the past to bring up to accommodate this moment, you are a child because you're not comfortable with hearing about yourself. And in most cases, the people who aren't comfortable with hearing about themselves is because they think they're perfect. They think they're perfect. And that usually comes with a level of narcissism. And it's just the truth. We got to learn how to communicate, right? There are many ways of communication skills, including passive-aggressive, assertive, and manipulative. I realize that most people communicate with all three. Passive-aggressive, I'll give you a scenario of passive-aggressive. When a woman be like, oh, you going to leave that dish in the sink again? Rather than you just say, hey, can you wash your dish? Look at how easy that was, right? Someone said that's called immaturity. That's facts. Think about it. Rather than you do the passive-aggressive, ladies, that drives men crazy. Because most men cannot read minds, and we will never be able to read minds because we are not mind readers. Just be straight up. Can you wash your dishes? Done. Don't go around the block, drive to the store, back to the store, around the block, and around the corner 5 times before you just say exactly what you want. I'm going to tell you one thing that drives men crazy. Any man that's in a relationship or deal with women, they hate this. You ever ask your woman, do she want something to eat? She say no. And then you come home with your food, and then she wants some of your food? You don't think that's crazy? I asked you, what did you want? You said nothing. But then I went and got me something, and now you want what I have. Ladies, y'all gotta stop that crap. That's weird. That's weird. Y'all gotta stop this weird crap. I asked you, what did you want? You said nothing. So therefore, I got you nothing. And then when I came home with just enough of what I want, you want some of it. That's crazy. Diabolical. Right? I give you another one. You ever been in a car and your woman says, hey, I'm hungry. And the next question behind it is what? What do you want to eat? And then you tell her, yo, let's go get some Chick-fil-A. I don't want no Chick-fil-A. Why did you ask me what do I want to eat? Why did you ask me what I want to eat? Ladies, just say what you want to eat. Because in most cases, most men will compromise what they really want to accommodate their woman. And I've noticed that. And any woman that disagrees, she's full of crap. In most cases, a man will go to the restaurant that the woman want to go to. Guys, do you agree or disagree? Am I capping or am I telling the truth? In most cases, men will accommodate the woman. We will compliment them. But a lot of times we live in this delusional world. Sometimes we don't get credit for what we compromise on. I really wanted a burger tonight, but I'm eating chicken because my woman wanted chicken. And a lot of men would do that, right? But when you talk about communication, a lot of times people cannot have these conversations because it makes them very uncomfortable. Communication is a skill that has to be acquired from experience and understanding, getting your emotions away from conversations. If you're emotional in a conversation, you are every bit of a person that should not be having certain conversations. If a conversation is triggering to you, that's a conversation you should avoid. If you get in your feelings, you feel away, you should stay out of that conversation. Because clearly it's not going to go the way you want. Because if your feelings aren't being considered in the conversation, then you automatically will have a negative premise to stand on. Because of how it made you feel. How many times you heard that before? Because of how it makes me feel. It's irrelevant to how it makes you feel. Truth is truth. Regardless of how your feelings are, the truth is the truth. Again, there are different communication styles. We said passive aggressive. We said assertive and manipulative. I think one of the safest ones, in a sense, being assertive is like standing on your ground of what you feel. Just say what you mean and mean what you say. I think when you sit with someone, eventually they will respect you because at the end of the day, you was honest about yourself. I got this rule. I would rather be alone than be with someone I have to pretend to be when I'm around them. You ever been around somebody? And I want y'all to answer this question. You ever been around somebody that when they go around one group of friends, they one way? And then when they go around another group of friends, they're another way? That is the worst person to be around. Diabolical. That is a confused spirit. Because I'm going to tell you something. I think the hardest thing in life is learning to be comfortable with who you are. Once a person becomes comfortable with who they are, then they understand who they truly are, right? Passive communication. People who are passive avoid expressing their needs, feelings, and opinions. Passive, very passive, right? And when you're passive, it's gonna build anger, resentment, because you're holding back how you truly feel. I don't get jiggy with passive people. Stand on your ground, stay how you feel. People who are passive are expressive. They don't express their needs, their feelings, or even their opinions. They don't do that, right? They may prioritize other needs of their own. So you can have a conversation. You could be 100% right, but they're going to negate how they really feel because of how it's going to make somebody else feel. Oh my God. OMG. That is a dangerous person to have a conversation with. Communication is everything. When you realize that people do not speak the same language. People don't speak the same language, right? Tap that screen, guys. Let's run it up. Keep tapping that screen, right? Aggressive communication. Aggressive communication. People who are aggressive tend to dominate conversations and interrupt others, right? So if the conversation is not going the way I want, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Because the conversation is not going the way you want. But you want me to respect what you want. But you're not going to respect what I want. I'm going to tell y'all something. I got a rule for 2025. If you don't respect my opinion, I'm damn sure not respecting your opinion. If you're not trying to hear me out, I damn sure I'm not hearing you out. So when you say this again, right? If you're not respecting me, you're not the end all be all, so I'm not listening to you. We got to respect each other. As responsible or as believing you would like to believe that your words are valid, my words have to be validated too. Right? I love conversations when two people can sit with each other, they say their opinion, and both of them respect each other. And at the end of the day, you said what you said, I said what I said, it is what it is. We don't have to agree every time because humans don't naturally always agree. It doesn't mean we're at war because we're not in agreement. Just because we're not in agreement don't mean we're at war. I'm just not agreeing with you, right? And I'm not going to personalize it either. Because watch this. This is some very manipulative crap. Watch this. If I get mad at your opinion, but I want you to respect and only value my opinion, you don't think that's crazy as hell? Think about that statement. You only see it from your way, nobody else's way. Nor do you care about how anything makes anybody else feel but yourself. Narcissist. Damn. Narcissist. Narcissist. I'm just being honest. I could have a conversation. I'm heavy on a LeBron fan. You could be a Michael Jordan fan. Even if I don't agree with your premise, I'm still going to hear you out, hear your statement. I'm not going to yell over you to the point where I'm not even hearing you because I'm just trying to control my narrative. And a lot of times when you talk to people who only want to control narratives, it's because they don't respect your opinion. They feel superior. Isn't that a narcissist? Isn't that a narcissist? Isn't that a narcissist? When they feel superior to what your opinion is. So no matter what you say, your opinion is irrelevant to them because it don't in line with what they want to hear. Narcissists. Aggressive communication. People who are aggressive tend to dominate conversations and interrupt others. They don't want to hear you out. Sometimes you ever had a conversation with somebody and the moment you start talking, they finish what they thought you was going to say and they be wrong as hell? That's crazy as hell. Yes, diabolical. Right? They may talk over others or invade their personal space with their words. Their words take over their personal space. Because it's not, and I'm not agreeing with you, don't make you wrong. But you should still hear each other out. I'm in a society today where men do not listen to women, women do not listen to men, and it's going on and on and on and on. This is the number one reason why you see black families and white families and any other families not building any wealth. You will not build wealth where there's no families. Where there's no unity, there is no growth, no economics, no building. Anyone that don't understand that by now, they're slow. Because clearly, right, your mother and father got to be first cousins. You got to be blood related because something is wrong with you. It's common sense. The reason why black culture is not building wealth because black men and black women don't believe we need each other. And on top of it, we're the brokest culture who are fighting against each other the most. This is why we're broke. Because of our communication. How we speak to each other. How we believe, I don't need you. I don't need you. You don't need me. A big bowl of unsuccessful ego. That's all you're hearing. A big bowl of unsuccessful ego. Someone said it's pride. It is. Ego, pride, delusion. Because the statistics aren't matching what people are saying. Married people own more homes. Married people have more money. Married people are more successful. Married people are more inclined to be retired. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? I don't know who created these false narratives that people on social media are engaging in believing, because society has created a poor premise. Because where there's broken people, there will always be a broken foundation. There's a foundation that has to be weak first before the people are weak. You're seeing it in real time. People are regurgitating social media conversations that make them feel important. You have people who sit around and watch nothing but garbage and feed their mind garbage, and more garbage, and then they wonder why that their success is not happening, because you're sitting there feeding your mind garbage all day. When you work out, right, you need food to feed the muscle, right? When you talk, you eventually get what? You keep talking, you become thirsty, right? You become thirsty. So what I'm getting at is this. When you're sitting there and you're on a tablet, a computer, a television, a phone, you're feeding your mind. And the mind is only going to regurgitate the information that is being fed. Because you have something called the algorithm. The algorithm only feeds you what you want to hear. So if you want to hear that man ain't nothing, believe you me, TikTok is going to feed you he ain't nothing. If you want to believe that she is garbage, TikTok will feed you she is garbage. Instagram will feed you he is garbage. YouTube will feed you she is garbage. And that's what you feed your mind all day. But you can't look at the fact that you are garbage, because you are comfortable attracting garbage. Because naturally, humans project themselves. And what comes back to you is what you're projecting. So I ain't like that. I'm not like that. A lot of these men, I'm like, listen, sister, a lot of times it's because of you. A lot of people don't want to hear this truth. There's a reason why every single man you're attracting is a bum. You must got bum magnet on you. Think about it. Before anyone say anything, think about that narrative. Everybody that comes to talk to you is a bum? I think that person need to start reflecting on himself a little bit. Every woman that you meet is a cheater? I think you need to reevaluate yourself a little bit. Right? But again, when we have these conversations, a lot of times people get so caught up in how they feel. Right? Aggressive communication, they may forcefully and command respect. Forcefully commanded, right? I don't care what you think. It doesn't matter. Listen, there are people right now who want a relationship, who aren't relationship material. Let me say that again. There are people who want relationships, and they're not even relationship material. You have people who are mentally sick, screaming about how they want the healthiest person to come be what they sick behind. Damn. If you ain't selfish, I don't know what the hell you are. Listen to that statement. You're sick, you're not over your ex, and you're going back into the dating world, and guess what they're about to do to the dating pool? Poison it. And they're gonna continue to poison the dating pool. And then we wonder why we continue to have these problems. It's like, you ever remember that? Remember you go to the pool and somebody pee in the pool, what do you usually see around them? When they pee in the pool, it gives like a dark blue spot around them. That's the person that peed in the pool. They jump right back in the pool, right, with a weak bladder and peed in the pool and wondering why the dating pool is so messed up. Because all these people keep peeing in the pool. They're peeing in the pool. When you have a human who believes that a man is not good because of the fact that he is not taking care of her only, that's diabolical. That's diabolical. Ladies, a real woman be looking for a man to add value to her life. A real woman wouldn't be looking for a woman to take care of her. Because when a man takes care of a woman in most cases, guess what happens? He controls her. Control comes with that. Why would you sign up for a man to pay all your bills knowing that it's gonna come with control? In most cases, the men that usually pay everything, he controls everything. Because you're not a partner. How can someone be a partner because we both having intimacy? Intimacy is an equal transaction. Think about that. No one gets more than one unless you're sleeping with people who can't do it right. If a man is sleeping with you and he's not satisfying you, that's your problem. Because I know both cases where women don't satisfy their men too. Men fake orgasms just like women do. I'm gonna be honest too. And my guys on my live, let's be honest. We do the same thing. But you wanna know why most relationships aren't healthy? Because before you can physically stimulate a woman, you gotta mentally stimulate a woman. If you can't stimulate a woman's mental, you will never be able to fully satisfy her physically. I'm telling you a fact right now. If you cannot mentally satisfy a woman, you will never be able to physically satisfy a woman. Because a woman, right? We're talking about a real woman. I'm giving you game right now. A real woman needs mental stimulation, right? A man feeling respected will make him always give the best sex that he could ever give. When he feels like he is that guy in that home, he will always go above and beyond. A woman, naturally, if she learns her true essence as a woman, she has more power than she actually believes she has. A woman will tell me the other day that I will never in my life, it says, right? It says what? She said the other day, a woman said to me the other day, she would never be in a relationship with a man that can't pay all her bills. I looked at her and I said, how old are you? She said 40. I said, that's why you ain't in a relationship. Because in 40 years, nobody signed up to pay all your bills. So either you're delusional, foolish, or slow. Because logic says that is not in the cards for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because again, you're 40 years old sitting here talking about you're waiting for a man to come pay all your bills. There has to be a level of delusion in that person. Delusion can make you forget and believe falsified things because you might see what another celebrity is going through, so therefore you feel like you're entitled to that. That is an extreme level of narcissism, very entitled. Entitled people have narcissism all in them. It's written all over them. Entitled people feel like someone's supposed to come along and pay everything for them. It's entitled. This is why our communication skills suck. Because a lot of us aren't thinking logical. After a certain amount of years, your logic should have kicked in by now. You're not the exception to the rule. The rule is the rule, but at the end of the day, no one say you cannot tell me a woman finding a man that work together, they can't build something great. But it might not be in your cards, right? To a man to pay all your bills. It's not reality. Who is pushing this narrative? Where there are broken culture, there will be broke people. Let me say that again. Where there's a broken culture, there will be broke people. And this is why you're seeing so many people broke, because they have a broke culture. It's not about working together. It's not about elevating. It's not about working hard together. It's about minds, more minds and minds. And what can a person do for me that I haven't done for my goddamn self? I said this on record. I will never date a woman who wants a Benz who I did not meet driving a Benz. If I met you driving a Benz, I can understand why you want a Benz. But if you want a Benz because you want it from me, then you are every bit of a gold digger. You're a gold digger. Digging, right? And I just keep it real. Some people don't like me because I'm very honest. But one thing about me, I don't care about satisfying someone's ego. Because 9 out of 10 times when a person say that I'm wrong is because it's stroking a feeling. It's hitting an emotion. Oh my God. But if you sit down and do logic, you'll see more people would agree than not agree. But most people that don't agree is the ones that are insecure as hell. They don't like to hear truth, right? Assertive communication. Assertive communication. People who are assertive are direct and respectful in their interactions. That's me. I'm very assertive. I say my stance, I stand on my stance, and I don't care what you don't feel. If you don't like it, so be it, but I'm gonna respect you. But I said my point. I'm not gonna justify my point because of the fact that it's making you insecure, right? Someone said they're selfish, hurt, and unhappy. I agree, right? Assertive communication, they express their needs and desires clearly while also considering others' perspective. So like I just said to you earlier, I will hear you out. Even if I'm not in agreement with it, I'm gonna hear you out. One of my guys just said to me, yo, Q, XYZ, so you have a voice. I said, no, I trust that my guys will make the right decision. I trust they'll make the right decision. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. Sometimes it's things you don't have to worry about, you shouldn't have to worry about, because if you worry about too many things, you go crazy. So I can focus my energy on other things. I had to learn how to delegate. Trust that my guy Dre got to make the right decision, what he feels is best for the situation, just move forward. I had to learn that. I got to trust that Kenzie going to make a good decision. Because sometimes to be on a great team is when you understand that certain roles are not for you. It's better that somebody might be able to see something that you can't see. And sometimes when you're too attached to the brand, you can't see it, right? They express their needs. I like this. They express their needs and desires clearly, right? Right? While also considering other people's perspective, right? See, the conversations is what we don't like to have is what we need to have. And when you don't have the conversations that you like to have, is because you only want to control the conversations that you want to have. Did you hear that? Sometimes we got to have the conversations that we don't want to have. But if you only want to have the conversations that you want to have, it's because you want to be able to control every conversation that you want to have. Narcissist says, I don't agree with you. It's okay, right? The style is often considered the most effective. This style, assertive communication is considered the most effective communication. Say your point, stand on it, let a person say their piece, you say your piece, and we move forward. But forcing someone to agree with you and I don't agree with you is diabolical. We're gonna have to disagree, agree to disagree. It's life, right? Let's keep going. Passive-aggressive communication. I can't stand passive-aggressive people. I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't stand it. Because they say little slick stuff all the time. Very slick comments, right? Oh my God, I'm like, come on, fam, right? I don't like when a man don't address the elephant in the room. Man, I'm gonna say this on record, I do not respect men that don't address the elephant in the room. If there's an elephant in the room, address the goddamn elephant. Stop ignoring the issue, acting like the issue is gonna just go away, but it's sitting there very transparently there, right? People who are passive-aggressive may use indirect methods like sarcasm or gossip to express their anger or frustration. Let's be real, how many people know people like that? I know a lot of people like that. Let me say that one more time, guys, right? People who are passive-aggressive may use indirect methods like sarcasm or gossip to express their anger and frustration. I can't stand somebody like that. I cannot stand passive-aggressive people with a passion because they're sarcasm, right? They always have some kind of level of sarcasm with them. And a lot of time they're corny because they're not comfortable with just being direct. So they're talking subs, they're talking code, they speak around about you rather than talk straight to you. This is a sick mentality. Someone said they carry hate in their hearts. I agree with you. They may they try to avoid conflict at all costs, but they're usually the one that throwing the stones. You know somebody that throw the rock and turn around and act like they didn't do it? That's a passive-aggressive person. You throw the stone, then when you get the results of the person getting upset because you threw a stone, now you want to play the victim. I can't stand somebody that always wants to play the goddamn victim. Oh my God, are you ever wrong? Are you ever wrong? You ever looked at somebody and said, damn, are you ever wrong? God damn. Are you ever wrong? You got people you can ask right now, you be like, yo, what do you do wrong? They're going to bring up things you do still. They cannot ever be cornered. Yo, they're not comfortable being cornered ever in their life. There are people, if you corner them, oh my God, if you corner them. They're not comfortable because it's all about how you made them feel rather than what they did to make you feel what you feel. Behind every action, there's a reaction. And my reaction is coming from your action because you made me feel a way. So guess what? Here's my reaction. You wanted the drama, now the drama's here. You wanted it, right? They say don't poke a bear, right? Don't poke a goddamn bear, right? Good.
Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. He ain't never lied. But again, that's what we don't want to hear. A lot of times when you sit down with people, they're so defensive that if you cannot get past their walls of defense, you cannot get into their mind at all. You cannot get through. They got the best damn Ravens defense in the history of the NFL.
They got that Floyd Mayweather shoulder roll defense.
Oh my God. There's a lot of people like that, right? You ever went to someone, I think the scariest thing is this. Imagine going to someone and say, hey, I need to talk to you. And they say, okay. And by the time you start talking to them, you realize it's back on you. You be like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm going to be honest with you. That happened to me today. I called one of my family members. I said, I got to tell you something that's bothering me, but I don't need your mouth. I need your ear. I know this is about to make you a little uncomfortable, but I just need you to hear me. The person says, okay, no problem. As soon as I started expressing how I feel, tell me why I instantly became the problem. I became the problem instantly. Because this is what we do. We're very deflective. A deflective person can never be receptive. How can you listen and hear at the same time? I'm asking that question. Can someone listen and hear at the same time? But more people do what? They talk rather than listen, right? Let's keep going. Passive-aggressive people, this style is the most manipulative and confusing communication there is. Passive-aggressive people, right? It is so hard to have a conversation with someone that's passive-aggressive, right? And then I'm gonna throw one in there. Another one is a very disrespectful person. Imagine someone that needs to insult to get their point across. I've met people along my journey that in order for them to talk to you, they always feel like they have to come at you in a way. They always gotta be disrespectful. There are people you cannot communicate with unless you express, or you make them extremely comfortable. I remember one time I was telling one of my siblings something about themselves. You know how I had to tell him? I had to tell him in third party. You know what I mean by third party? I had to tell him a story from someone else's lens for him to basically see what he was doing to me. And I kept saying to him, as I'm telling him the story, throughout the whole story, I'm like, I can relate to this. And I'm just keep going on and on and on. I can relate to this. And I'm just going on and on. I can relate to this. To this point, he did not understand that I was talking about his behind. Very emotional men these days, guys. I don't understand why the first thing a person, when they communicate, why does it always lead to emotion? The road to communication should not lead to anger. The road to communication should not lead to frustration. The road to communication should not lead to a fight. The road to communication should not lead to a war. It's sad when a human can express himself to another human how they feel about something that human made them feel like. Diabolical, guys. Diabolical, right? Manipulative communication is one of the worst ones also. People who are manipulative may use cunning tactics to guide, discuss, and hide their true intentions. They're hiding how they genuinely feel, right? But expect you to understand it. Manipulative people will do something like this. Act like you're supposed to just read their mind and know exactly what you want from them. And they never had their communication with you. Never told you anything, but they expect you just to know. And that's when the culture is really going down. We're going downhill because people don't know how to communicate. I think the number one tool to any healthy relationship is communication. If you cannot be yourself at all costs, then that relationship will not last long. And secondly, I will always say that being friends. When you genuinely friends, true friends always respect what? You being yourself. You can't tell me you your woman or your man's friend and you not even being yourself. Yeah, I got a homeboy right now, no cap. He is one of the most funniest dudes I know. Funny as hell. He's organically funny. To this day, you know his woman don't know that he's funny? She has no clue because he never shows his real behaviors. Because as I told you before, most men and women do not like to tell the truth about themselves. Because again, we're in relationships where we hide our true personality because we're too busy trying to accommodate being with somebody else. But if a person loves you for you, they will respect you for you. I always say this, I would rather you hate me for who I am than love me for who I'm pretending to be. I'd rather you hate me for who I am than to love me for who I'm pretending to be. I will never be in a situation where I have to pretend to be someone I'm not. I'm very vocal. I'm going to die vocal. Because I used to bite my tongue, and I hate to say this, I used to bite my tongue so much in relationships that my tongue started hurting. So I don't bite my tongue no more, especially when something is bothering me. And it's not sassy. It is not soft. It is not weak. It is actually being expressive. If something is making you feel away, express it. Get to the root of the problem. Why are we avoiding the elephant in the room? Let's get right to it. It ain't got to be, let's get ready to rumble. It ain't got to be that. It's got to be, let me be comfortable to hear what he got to say. Let me be comfortable to hear what she got to say. When you learn these skills, you'll see that you are every bit ready to move forward into a relationship. If you know you have poor listening skills, you have poor communication skills, and you have a poor mentality where you don't want to hear anything about yourself, ladies and gentlemen, you should not be in no relationship. Because all you're going to find is somebody that's just like you. Because it takes two sick people to stay around each other to not know they're sick. It takes two sick people to be around each other and not know they're sick. The other day I was talking to this guy, right? And I said to him, he said, Q, would you ever find yourself looking for a partner? I said, no. He said, why wouldn't you look for a partner? I said, because the only people that's looking for a partner is a person that's lost. You don't look for nothing when you ain't lost. Listen to that statement again. The only people that's looking for a relationship are people that's lost. People that are lost, that's comfortable with themselves, will allow it to come to them. Eventually, y'all will run into each other. Because if you keep projecting great energy, eventually it will happen. But if you're the one that's always looking for something, noticing why you constantly having problems. Because only the lost are the ones who are looking for something. But if you aren't lost, you wouldn't be looking for nothing. I'd have never seen someone that's found and comfortable in their skin talking about, I've been looking for love in all the wrong. That's an unhealthy person. You've been looking for love in all the wrong places? Why are you looking for it? Love is supposed to find you. You just know it's right when it's right. You can't make something fit in a puzzle that wasn't meant to fit in a puzzle. You can't believe that something is going to change when the red flags are there in the beginning. If a person lacks communication skills, just know that you're going to have a problem that's going to have a relationship that's going to continue to have what? A problematic level of communication. You can't change people's mentality because you feel you can change people's mentality. You can't force people to think the way you want them to think. You can't make people better. I had to tell a guy this, and I want y'all guys to hear this. Naturally, a man is a what? A provider, right? Naturally, a woman should be nurturing, right? The other day, I had to tell a guy, he's in a relationship. So he said, we're not getting far. We're not getting anywhere. I said, you know why you're not getting anywhere? He said, why? I said, because you're spending too much of your energy being a nurturer on a woman. A man is supposed to be a provider and a woman is supposed to be the helpmate of the man. And when a man is moving towards being the best version of himself, the woman that will meet him on his climb will be the best version of a woman that will help him get to them levels. When a man is not understanding this, that man will sit there and keep fighting with trying to fix a woman, ultimately never becoming a great provider that he could become. A man will never become a great provider if he keeps spending his energy on a woman trying to fix her. Men are not nurturers, we're providers. And when a man is confused, he will choose a woman that needs nurturing, trying to fix her. You under the hood of a woman trying to fix her. You're trying to give her a new engine. You're trying to give her a new transmission. At the end of the day, you're going to lose because you're spending your time on something that you shouldn't be spending your energy on. Your energy should be spending on you becoming a provider. And that woman that's meant for you will find you and nurture you. She will find you. Because naturally, I think the men are supposed to be the hunters. Ladies, you're supposed to make yourself known that you're accessible. You looking, or you want something. It's okay. Right? You let it be known by your behaviors. Show that you're interested. But right, you should not, right? You should not, and I say this with conviction, you should not be chasing nobody, guys. Man, you should not be chasing no woman. The other day, me and my boy Tyler, we went to this event, and this lady said to me, I want a man that chased me. I said, that never happened for me. She got mad. She said, what you mean by that? I said, I don't chase women. Never have, never will. She said, why? I said, because that is stopping me and stopping my growth. Because I'm going to tell you something. If it's not an easy kill, meaning I can catch her and we just grow from there, then so be it. But I'm not hunting and, spending all these years, spending money on driving you out of the country. I'm not doing all that. Hell to the no. And if you're talking about because you're a high-value chick, then I guess I'm not a high-value man because real men ain't doing that. In most cases, when a man comes with all of that luxurious and sweeping you off your feet, it ends like a horror movie in the end. When a man is going that crazy to get you, it ends in a horror movie because that's not his true representation of self. That's not his real self. I will organically meet you. I like a first date, and people say, oh, it's cheap. I like a first date. I like to go to a cup of coffee. Because when you naturally understand that we're making an investment in each other, with our time, with everything else in between, you're not going to like me more. And if you like me more, watch this, ladies, and do you agree with this? If you like me more because of how much money I spent at a restaurant, that means you're a prostitute. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There is no way that a goddamn restaurant should make you like a man more or less. Yo, it's not crazy. Is that not crazy? Because I took you to an expensive restaurant, you like me more? And if that's what make you like somebody more, ladies, you're signing up for the worst sign up there is. You should not be signing up for somebody, right, just because of the fact that they took you to an expensive restaurant. How about how he made you feel? How about how mature he was? How about the setting and the conversation was mature? We were compatible. We were learning each other. He was into me. He was listening to me. I was listening to him, right? I think genuinely he's spending expensive money and a woman thinking that she's shallow as hell. She is so shallow. She is so shallow. That's a woman I wouldn't even entertain because you're shallow. It's not about can I not. It's about why. Because I don't have to sit there while I spend this expensive food on you so you can take a video so you can put it on your gram. I wouldn't even want a corny girl like that. She's sitting there, look at this. She's sitting there taking a video of her food in her plate for Instagram. So guess who went on date with her? Her Instagram. I don't give a damn about a person like that. That's a child. Hold on, don't eat your food yet. Let me get a video of it. You think I'm gonna go to a restaurant with a person like that? I want a person that's comfortable in anywhere and everywhere they are. That's a person you look for. Not because of what her social media thinks about her, the perception that she's given. I want y'all to hear this. Men's style of communication, guys. I want y'all to hear this. Hold it down. All right? I want y'all to hear this. Social media validation kills relationships. Yes, it do. They put a study up the other day that said people that show their relationships less on social media have the longest relationships. Secondly, they said the people that spend the least amount of money on weddings have the longest relationships. The people that spend the least amount of money on weddings have the longest marriages. The people that spend the most money on relationships have the shortest marriages because they were getting married for the ring and not the goddamn marriage. It was the party. They were celebrating their whole relationship right there in that one night. And it never matters about anything else. It's a ring, not the commitment, right? You talking about, oh my God, he spent this big money on my ring. So what? He gonna cheat on you tomorrow anyway. Get out of here. Diabolical. Men communicate shoulder to shoulder, right? Whoever said that's not true, go look up the statistics because you must want an expensive wedding. And I hate if it's an older woman sitting there waiting for this person to give you this expensive wedding at an older age. Ladies, to me, that's diabolical. I'm gonna say that again. If you're an older woman and you're sitting there waiting, because men don't do weddings because of the fact that men sit around and want a wedding. Men do weddings because we want to give it to the woman because we know that's what she wants. And a lot of times people set themselves so far financially back yet doing these weddings, it don't even make goddamn sense. Why would you have a wedding to go back home to a rental apartment? Why the hell would you do that? Have a big old wedding to go back to a rental apartment. Does that even make sense? I watch some people put 40, 50K. That is a deposit on a house. Now you're gonna spend another 3 to 5 years saving money to buy a house? Man, your mother and father gotta be first cousins. Because that don't make no goddamn sense. That don't make no goddamn sense. Stop watching social media. It's confusing. It's making you know how many people sit there with their credit cards and swipe away on a ring in a wedding? You know how much interest you're paying on a ring and on a wedding? I know people that spent $30,000 on credit cards and they still haven't paid it off. Been married 7 years. 7 years. And they still haven't paid it off. 7 years. So you pay for that wedding 2-3 times by the time it's over. Right? They're crazy. Men communicate shoulder to shoulder. Means that men often feel comfortable having deep conversations while engaged in shared activities alongside another person, essentially doing something together like watching a game or working on a project provides a less confrontational setting for men to open up. Men like talking shoulder to shoulder. So a man usually in most cases like when a woman's sitting there and they're doing something together. Let's say he has a project and you helping him with a project and you bring up a conversation. It is more receptive when things are being done and getting done, right? Men are very solution-based. Women are very emotional-based. Men are very solution-based. So sometimes ladies, you be like, he don't hear me. I'm like, no, because he's looking for a solution. He's looking for a solution. So sometimes guys don't bring things to women's attention because of the fact that he's looking for a solution. A woman's mouth is not going to be a solution. I got to find a solution. So she's going to say, oh, my communication skills suck. No, I need to come up with the logic of how to solve this issue. I don't want to bring it to your attention and just keep complaining. A real man doesn't sit around and keep complaining. We try to figure things out, right? Women's style of communication. Females communicate styles are characterized by a focus of empathy, right? Like connection and collaboration. Listen to this. They often involve active listening, right? Sharing personal experience and using more emotional tone. So men, you got to watch your tone when you're talking to a woman. Understand that they're going to take it personal when you're not listening to them. They don't feel like they're being heard. A woman has to be receptive. A man has to be receptive of a woman so she can hear him. If a man is not receptive, meaning learning how to be empathetic in a conversation with a woman, she's not going to hear you. Because again, I just told you before, women are more feeling-based creatures. They don't choose to be like that. This is just naturally aura. So if you can humbly humble yourself and understand that you're talking to a woman, right? Understand her emotions might be getting involved, so let me be empathetic in this conversation. Then you can reach her. Let me go further. Relationship building. Women use communications to build relationships or offer support and make connections. That's what women see as relationship building, right? I'll say it again. Women use communication to build relationships. So sometimes, guys, you be like, your woman talk too much. That's how women feel like they build relationships. That's how women feel like they build relationships. So, guys, if you're complaining about a woman talking too much, then you don't need to be with a woman. Because that's just naturally who they are. Right? Women are they'll come home, tell you about their story. Their day was at work. Tell me why Tasha did this and tell me why Michelle did this. That's normal. At the end of the day, even though you don't like it, listen. Because it makes her feel important. It makes her feel important and validated. It's okay, right? It's nothing wrong with the way she communicates. We just understand that we do not speak the same. It's okay. It's normal. It's normal, right? Let's keep going. Empathy. Women tend to focus on understanding emotions and being empathetic. That's what women understand the most. They naturally understand that the most, right? This is female communication styles go, just so y'all understand this. Right? Women like active listening. Women are often good listeners and can pick up nonverbal clues. They're good at that. They're good at that. And another thing you can do with your woman is let her see your friends. A lot of times women can see things about your friends that you can't see. They got a gift for it. They have a gift for it. No good. Because when a woman loves you, she automatically looks for what's absolutely the best for you. And if she doesn't feel like it's the best for you, in most cases, she will try to protect you. Because they can see things you might not be able to see. I'm just being honest. That's how women are. If a man's not jacking this, he don't know women. Or he gonna blame the little trash girls he had and put that into a woman category. There's girls and boys based on age. It doesn't matter. You have little boys running around here, little grown boys and little grown girls running around here. We're talking about grown men and grown women, right? Right? So like I said, sharing experiences. Women often share personal experience to create opportunities for her and others to relate to. So she'll create a story just for relatability and conversation. It gets quiet, your woman might just start saying something. And your mind, you're like, hey, you talk too much. But in her mind, she's just trying to bond. Let me say that again. When you're sitting with your woman and you be like, damn, she talked too much. In her mind, she's just trying to bond with you. She's trying to bond. But again, sometimes, guys, you gotta understand how women operate. We don't communicate the same. But if you don't understand that, then you're gonna always be very on the defense, not understanding a woman's lens of how she views communication, how she views life, right? Sharing experiences. Keep going, rather. Emotional tone. Women may use a more emotional or expressive tone. You got to mind your tone when you're having a conversation with a woman, because it can be very triggering to a woman. And ladies, you have to be mindful of how you speak to a man, because it can be very triggering. A lot of times men grow with mothers that were very, 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 very overly aggressive, to the point that when you talk to a man with overaggression, he tends to take the conversation very personal, right? Let's keep going. Animated behavior. Women may be more animated than men, including in their eye-to-eye contact gestures, facial expressions, and body movement. That's how women are. There's nothing wrong with it. That's just how they are. Sometimes they, y'all know how they, that's women, right? That's just how they talk. But if you don't understand it, it's like, why are you fighting with who they do not choose to be? That's how they operate. That's how they talk. This is how women communicate, right? Pitch and tone variations. Women may use a wider range of pitch and tone variations throughout the conversation. It depends on how and what emotion that conversation hits. Will ultimately bring out more anger, aggression, or emotions in the conversation. Especially when you're dealing with feelings, make you very passionate. And passionate people usually come with very animated. Very, very animated. And this is just the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to understand that men and women do not speak the same language. But if we learn to understand each other, we can ultimately have a healthy relationship. But if men don't learn how women talk and think, and women don't learn how men think and talk, then they're going to continue to have the problems. I tell people all the time, if you want a healthy relationship, learn how the opposite sex operate. You cannot go into a relationship with a woman, men thinking that you're going to behave like a man in a relationship dealing with her. You can't be hyper-aggressive with a woman when you're dealing with a woman, guys. The way you can talk to your boys, you can't talk to your woman. And it's not that you're a punk, it's that you have to understand they do not communicate the same as that. They take things personal. You know how you can tell them a validation before I get out of here? Your woman ever says something bad to you and you said something bad to her, and then she always bring it back up that you said to her, you done got over it? Because women internalize and personalize conversations. They're emotional creatures. And then they have memories of an elephant. They remember everything. So just understanding how women communicate, guys. And men, we communicate completely different. The number one language a woman can speak to a man is a singular word. It's one word. It's called respect. Don't let that go over your head.